Hello everyone, Kaoz here, and welcome to another old school RuneScape video. New area, new content, yada yada, you know the drill. But did you know that there are over 20 new ways to train your skills in Valimor? Well, this video will go over exactly that. I'm sure you'll find something that might pique your interest, including some methods I can guarantee you haven't seen in any other video. So, I really hope you enjoy. Boys and girls, if you haven't, remember to subscribe and to drop a like for the YouTube overlords, and ring that notification bell to know when new videos and streams go live. You can also join our Discord if you have any other questions, or if you just want a chill community to play the game with. My only disclaimer for this video is pretty much the same one as the Moneymakers video. Remember that all of these methods were tested on my max domain, because it's the only account I have. But I will still have realistic XP and the GP per hour for all of these in case you don't have high levels and want to AFK just a little bit. That being said, let's go check out all of the new training methods surrounding the Kingdom of Valimor. I'm going to order these methods in the way I normally do for these types of videos, going from top left to bottom right, starting with combat. Like I said before, fighting Nogwas in the Nepotsley dungeon, it's basically budget, or not even budget, it's a little bit of profit, Nightmare Zone training, because you're going to get your own potions at the preparation camp, and these are not only prior potions, but also super combat potions, meaning that you need absolutely nothing to get massive experience per hour here in terms of combat. Like I said in the previous video, and I tested this again, we got around 260k GP if you pick up literally everything. So even the runes, fire runes, chaos runes, and as you're seeing on screen, I got a little bit higher because this time around I was focused on experience per hour. I wanted to see the maximum that we could get, and that is why I'm using Torva, Infernal Cave, Avernic, Inquisitor's Mace. So definitely manage expectations if you're doing this with a gear that I did in the previous one, because even then you can still get 90 or 100k experience per hour, and we are going to visit this one again because we're going to be using it for something else. This new prayer training method is absolutely busted, and we are going to be using the blessed bone shards that you get in various activities around Valimor, and something else you can do with your bones, which you can chip them with a chisel. And this is actually great for any type of account because any bone is going to be able to be dismantled into these bone shards. And what I did here is that I tested this with 1000 dragon bones, and using all of them with the libation pool by blessing my Sunfire wine at the altar gave me around 1.5 million experience per hour, and this is an absolutely insane way to get training prayer experience. So what you're going to do very quickly is you're going to grab noted bones like you would do at the gilded altar, and then you're going to take them to the altar at the Tiamat, like the pyramid looking thing. You are going to unnote the bones with a guy that's under, or like I would say near the pyramid, and then you're going to do the same. You're going to click on the altar, chip all of your bones, and when you have as many bone shards as you want, you are then going to grab jugs of wine. This is an extra step if you want. You can use Sunfire splinters on your jugs to get more experience from each of these at the libation pool, and then you're going to take those jugs to the same place to then bless them. You then need to go to the temple in the Tiamat and then use the jug of wine on the libation pool, and then you are going to absolutely spam click the hell out of that thing. What I personally did here is that I brought one prayer potion. You don't really need that because you can use the altar that's, I would say, south of the temple where you're doing this, and you're basically going to be able to do this until you run out of jugs. Or Sunfire jugs if you want. This is absolutely busted. However, remember that this takes a lot of preparation, but this is a great way for any type of account to level prayer. And not only that, it is insane because you can actually do this with any type of bone. And then, even if you have normal bones, big bones, any type of bone that you get, you're going to be able to chip them down. And when it's time to train prayer, you are going to go absolutely insane with the experience per hour. So, I absolutely love this method, but like I said before, I don't think it warrants me remaking my prayer guide. However, a great one for extra bones in your bank. This method is really nostalgic for me because it is one of the first videos I ever made on the channel about tele-alking, but now I am going to use the Valimor spell with the high alchemy spell. What you're going to do is that you're going to high alch an item in your inventory, and as soon as you go back to the magic spell, you're going to click the Valimor teleport spell. As soon as you get to Valimor, you are then going to alch another item, and then teleport, and then high alch, and then teleport. And with this, I was able to get around or a maximum of 150k experience per hour. Mind you, this is at level 55, and it is an absolutely insane way to train your account. The profit that you're going to get from this is going to vary depending on what item you high alch, but I was high alching magic longbows, and with all of the runes, the nature runes, the law runes, and then everything that you need for this, I only ended up with about 5k HP per hour, which is not that great, but for 150k magic experience at level 55, you definitely need to try this. And now the Camelot teleport is, I mean, I'm not gonna say irrelevant, but the Valimor one is a lot better. We are going back to the Nepotzli dungeon to slay Naguas to train Runecrafting. Now, how does this happen? If you remember one of Addy's old tweets and saying that every single skill needs an AFK way to train, whether it be 5k, 10k, 15k XP per hour, well, indirectly, now that is a reality. Because by killing Naguas, you can actually get an item called Sulfur Essence. If you grab all of these and then you take them to the ghost or the Nagua in the chest area, you're going to be trading them in for 50 runecrafting experience each. Because of this, I was getting 12k runecrafting experience per hour, and if you really dislike the skill, you can do this, and that is basically going to be free runecrafting experience along training combat. The other runecrafting training method we have in Valimor is creating Sunfire runes, and I use the outer fortress teleport, so you can go to the temple in order to use fire runes with Sunfire splinters in your inventory as well as essence on the altar that is in this temple, and then you empty your pouch, go bank, and then rinse and repeat. Even though I was getting 70 to 75k experience per hour, which compared to other methods, it's not great, the money lost per hour is a little considerate here because you will be losing about 900k to around 1 million GP per hour. To be quite honest with you, there are greater methods that you can do, like the ZMI altar, even if you get some day out essence. There's better methods for this that are not as expensive and that you're even going to profit from, but it is just, you know, I guess an extra way if Sunfire Splinters go down eventually to like less than 100 to 100 GP. Maybe this method will eventually be a little better, especially if Sunfire runes increase in price. For now, you're going to lose a little bit of money, but keep this in mind, once Sunfire Splinters go down in price eventually, then this could potentially be a profitable training method in the future. The method for thieving we have seen before, but I'm going to go over it again in case you haven't seen it, and we are going to pickpocket from wealthy citizens in the bazaar. For this one, I recommend you have the rogue's outfit, and if you don't have super high level and if you're not 99, what I recommend is wearing dodgy necklaces. You get your gloves of silence as well as the Archaeus spell called Shadow Veil. This is going to increase your XP per hour, of course, as well as the GP per hour that you're going to be making. And the most important item we're looking for these is both the clue scrolls if you are hunting for those, as well as the keys to the houses that we're going to see in just a second. Along 140 to 150k XP per hour, I was making 240k GP per hour. However, remember that I was doing this with 99 thieving as well as the hard RD diary. That increases your pickpocketing chance by 10% all across Galenor, which basically means that I was getting a lot more than you will usually get at about 60, 70, 80. The level you need for this is, I believe, 50. So if you're doing this at level 50, keep in mind you're going to see numbers that are heavily reduced, but still, it is going to be good for what's coming next. Once you have enough house keys obtained from the wealthy citizens, we are going to use those to go to their houses, of course, and then steal from their chests. What I said in the previous video, if you didn't have time to catch it, is that this is basically done for AFK thieving experience. And it's because you are going to get slightly less experience and a lot less money per hour. But this is something you really have to pay attention every, I would say up to a minute of AFK until you have to go out because the citizen is going to the house. And then, other than that, it just takes less than a minute to go to the next one, get pickpocketing, and then you just have to pay attention to the chat box where it says that you can no longer steal from that chest. And of course, this is going to be great after a nice session of stealing from wealthy citizens. A new crafting method involves creating mixed hide gear thanks to all of the hide that we got from the animals around Valimor. You can create to the top, legs, I believe sandals, boots, I don't know the exact name of the item, and of course capes. What I did were tops, even though those were not the highest experience per hour. For some odd reason, the legs give you more experience per piece rather than the top. However, the top is the quote-unquote cheapest one to make as opposed to the amount of experience and the cost, because I would say it is the most efficient at this particular moment. The important thing about this one is that if you want to give this a try, I highly recommend you buying your own mixed hide thread from the actual Hunter Guild, because if you buy them from the Grand Exchange, dude, like those things at the store are, I believe, around 12 KGP. I went to the GE and I couldn't buy 100 of them for up to 25k, like 30 KGP, so like almost double the price. If you're gonna do this, you're gonna need a lot of material, and trust me, it is not that great experience per hour, costing about 3 mil GP per hour, and at that point you're better off doing red dragonhide bodies, red dragonhide chaps, and eventually when you have enough money and experience, black d'hide bodies, and of course that requires a little less, I would say, level. The only thing I would do this for is to reach level 77 for those red dragonhide bodies to get it a little quicker, because experience is actually pretty nice at about 230k per hour. For fletching we have a 2-for-1 because these methods are literally the same, just with different items. We are going to create sunlight and the moonlight bolts out of the antlers from the respective antelope. The bad thing about this one is that even though it's also AFK, you can literally do this with maple longbow, yew longbow, magic longbow, literally anything. You're gonna get more experience per hour, however not as much GP per hour, let me tell you. So you're gonna get about 20 to 22k experience depending on each one, because each, I would say, antler only gives you 10 fletching experience. However, if you do sunlight bolts, I bought them on the Grand Exchange, and then when I sold the bolts I made around 30k GP respectively in the same hour. But oddly enough, the sunlight bolts are still a little expensive. Like you can get anywhere from 400k to 600k in that, hour. So if you have the fletching level required for it, it's definitely a nice one to try. However, be wary of how much you buy the antlers for and how much you sell the bolts for. This one, not that great, but I'm just including it here for variety. Okay, bear with me, we're gonna have a lightning round for the next ones because they all relate to Hunter. So let's go. The very first one, Ember-tailed Jerboa, I was catching these for about 70k experience per hour, and if you keep their tails, that is going to be about 400k GP in that same time. Keep in mind that these are probably not going to be as expensive because as the market floods, then of course, they might go down in price. It's not going to be as bad, however, as Pyre Foxes. Deadfall traps are absolutely hideous. Do not do this, JagXD sucks. Please fix this. But I was getting about 34k experience per hour with give or take 130k per hour if you keep all of the fur and meat. Of course, make sure to take your pouches to store all of these, but in the next one we are going to make absolutely zero money. The Sunlight Moth, if you just catch them south of the Hunter Guild, it will be, if you don't fail, about 100,000 experience per hour. And for the level required for these, this is absolutely insane for Hunter. Like, you don't even get this at the Herbivore. Like, you could maybe nearly get as much as the Herbivore, which is 100, 110k. This method is absolutely busted. The Sunlight Antelope, I was getting about 80k XP per hour just focusing on 1 or 2 traps because doing these is not that great. Money per hour actually went down to about 700, 800k per hour because the Sunfire Splinters are not as expensive anymore. Another one that if you want to focus on experience, you're not going to be making a lot of money, is going to be the Moonlight Moth at the Hunter Guild basement. For this one, I go to the northeast corner of the moth area. And what I do is that I focus on just the 3 of the spawns that you can see in the video. Focus on these for around 110,000 experience per hour. One of my favorite ones, for some odd reason, because I would like to see that mature Teku Salamander in my inventory, is the same monster for about 140,000 experience per hour, which is absolutely busted. However, you're not really going to make any money unless you get that mature Teku Salamander, because you just have to release all of them. Moonlight Antelope, you get about 125,000 experience per hour. Again, I was only focusing on 2 traps because it is a little more efficient. And if you keep all of the antlers, all of the meat, all of the fur, you're gonna get about 1.2 mil GP per hour because those antlers are super expensive for some reason. And then finally we get into the contracts. By doing novice contracts, I was getting about 75,000 XP per hour. And the loot you get from the sacks is not really that great at about 90k GP. Adept contracts is about 100,000 XP per hour, and out of the loot that I got in the testing session in the previous video was about 430 KGP. Another session of export contracts landed me about 120,000 experience per hour, which is a little more realistic when you go up to the 80, 85 right before master contracts for about 450 KGP per hour. However, the experience and the money is of course at level 91 in the master contracts. I was getting maximum of 170,000 experience per hour, and that was prior to me having a proper block list for all of these, which we will see in the next video, when we're gonna check out everything about Hunter Rumors. And I got about 500,000 GP in that hour, which for training, for me training Hunter is absolutely insane. I'm super happy with all of these except for the Pyrofox, but if you want to train Hunter, there's literally no better way to do it than now. Getting into the last ones, we are going to train mining at the Kamtorum mine, but we are going to do this AFK by not even paying attention to the waterfalls. I was getting about 45,000 XP per hour, again at max level with a crystal pickaxe, but if you're doing this at about 41, 45, 50, which is 41D is the level required for this, you're gonna get about 25, 30, 35k. And oddly enough, if you get those big bones from the shards and you can use them on the anvil, if you get the crystallized mods that people use for a teleport here at Kamtorum, you can get about 20 to 50k GP per hour, which is honestly not that bad for something that's completely AFK. However, I was getting 50k XP per hour, as well as, again, 50k GP per hour, if I focused on the waterfalls. It is honestly something you don't really have to worry too much about, because if you're doing something else like working or you're watching a video, a series, what you can do is just have your screen zoomed out a little bit more, and then you will be able to see when those waterfalls appear if your screen is, I would say properly positioned, and all it takes is for you to do one more click, and you're going to get slightly more experience per hour. So this one is great, give it a go, and yeah, it's absolutely better than the Motherlode mine, let me tell you that, but if you're missing your Prospector outfit, then you definitely have to do that one. The one training method I can guarantee you haven't seen in any video, or if you have, let me know, is training fishing at the Nepotsley dungeon by just going to the waterfall where you catch your fish and then dropping them all at the floor. Why is this so important, why is this so, I would say, strong for this level? Is that you're going to be catching fish literally every 2 ticks, I believe, if you position your net properly by clicking the way I am doing on screen. Like I said before, I only have one account. I don't know if you automatically catch all of these, even if you have level 20, 30, 50 fishing. But even if that is the case, getting 55k experience per hour fishing at this level is, pretty good in my opinion, because fishing is one of the worst skills in the entire game. And boys and girls, we come to the last one for cooking. Just like the previous video, we are going to cook both sunlight and moonlight antelope meat. I was going to say fur for some reason. And by doing sunlight, you will get about 200k experience per hour, and the moonlight antelope meat was landing me about 280k experience per hour, with the respective money that you can see on screen at its maximum performance, I would say. Obviously, what you want is the sunlight antelope meat, because that is going to give you a ton of GP. Even more than maybe sharks, anglers, carambulans, monkfish, pretty popular food that people use nowadays. Boys and girls, that's it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed and you learned something useful. If you did, make sure to either let me know which of these training methods was your favorite one from this video and if you're gonna give them a try, include the term RSN in your comment and include your RuneScape username to be eligible for a bond giveaway draw that we will be doing on Friday. And on my stream, of course, we do these live every Friday or Saturday if I forget. Thank you. Massive thank you to all the channel members for supporting this project. All of your funds go to my starving family in Mexico for us to eat a lot of tacos. If you want to become part of this list of legends, click the join button below to toss a few dollars my way if you support and enjoy what I do here on YouTube. That being said, in the next one, we are going to go over the Hunter rumors, how to block them, how to make them more efficient, and what are the best ones for each tier. Until then, I hope you guys are looking forward to it, but have a wonderful day, have a great week, and I will see you then. Peace.